Hi there YouTube, Mark here with a video response. Topic: would gaming be any different if money played no object, played no role? Yeah, gaming would be totally different. Gaming was different back in the day for me. When I was a kid, I used to save up money for weeks and weeks to be able to get a certain game. I started out with the Odyssey 2, and one game cartridge would cost us 99 guilders, which meant, to me as a kid, it meant about perhaps 3 months or 6 months or perhaps even a year worth of saving. So I was saving up money, my pocket money, for up to a year in order to be able to buy a single game. One game per year. So that makes a game last. Man, that makes a game last. Yeah, if you got one game, you play the heck out of it. If you got more games than one, you tend to switch between those, and it becomes less focused on one game. And then later on, when I moved on, when I was in my teens, I got a Commodore 64, and I remember saving up a long time to be able to get this. This didn't come cheap. It was a major release. I still have the original tape I got back in the day, and you can actually see that the label was printed with one of these dot matrix printers. You see the little dots. Yeah, I'm not sure how much I paid for this, but it really did. Yeah, it really was expensive. This one as well, a tape game, $49.50. $49.50, and of course that's guilders. So it's about 25 euro. You can't really, I don't think you still can, you know, do the calculating thing, but because of what is it, inflation and stuff. But yeah, Spin Dizzy. On the Commodore 64, I paid $49.50 for this. Recently got this, Spin Dizzy. Spin Dizzy on the SNES. Game cartridge like these were like 129 guilders or more. So back in the day, to me, this was unattainable. This was a bridge too far. Only the rich kids were able to use this, and I wasn't a rich kid. So money really made games scarce, made access to games scarce. This resulted, of course, in us getting tapes with these dual tape decks, you know, copying the tapes and stuff. It resulted in us programming our own games. It resulted in disc swapping and disc trading. It resulted in us, you know, trading games, borrowing games. I didn't trade. I borrowed and lent games to expose myself to other games, and my mom had a double tape deck, so often I tried to copy them onto a computer tape, which worked sometimes, but most often it didn't. When I got a job, when I got my first, I mean, I never stopped gaming. I always was gaming. I brought my Commodore 64 with me when I went to college, so I always was playing video games. When I moved to college, I brought my Commodore 64, continued to play the games. When the SNES was getting out of fashion, I was able to buy one cheap with a Mario, Super Mario World cartridge. I believe I paid 25 guilders for it, complete. without the box, but the controller, 2 controllers, a SNES, power lead, TV lead, and that was it. 25 guilders, and there were still games coming out because it was the early 90s, but yeah, it more or less was. There were other devices coming out, like the Sega 32X was coming out, the Sega Saturn was coming out, but all these discs were hugely expensive, out of my league. I was a poor kid in college, so I can only do second-hand gaming, and a lot of these systems, they had full-price games, and yeah, just, you know, I was always a generation behind. I believe in then I got my first job, and that was around the time that the PlayStation 1 had been out for a couple of years. Perhaps 1, perhaps 2, I'm not sure. Earnings I had, my wages, I decided actually to go and get out and buy myself a PlayStation 1 with a couple of games. I could do that now, whereas before that was impossible. But I didn't go overboard. I just bought, you know, Tekken. What else did I buy? Tekken, Spyro the Dragon, Gran Turismo, Ridge Racer. Those were the games I bought, and I played the heck out of them. Then I started renting video games, you know, playing them, bringing them back to the store, and so I got myself another PlayStation a couple of years later. That was chipped, so I could play backups. Then I got myself a Nintendo 64 because I really was curious, but it always was second-hand games and cheaper games, and yeah, that stuck with me for a long time. I always was buying retro systems that were, you know, just just phasing out or had phased out. Newer generations were on there, and I was playing on the PC for a long time, and I always went to the bargain bins. PC games, they really went very cheaply. They went very cheap in bargain bins in game stores, and I always was playing games that were not current games, but, you know, were a couple of months old, and they would just be so very cheap, and you could buy them, you know. CD games. One exception, for example, is Doom. Doom I just had to get. Red Alert, that's also a game I just had to get on release. There's some others that I did buy full price on release, but most of my games I actually got cheap second hand. Yeah, there's my Xbox 360 is actually downloading stuff. Re-downloading stuff actually. I always ended up getting my games cheap, and not the current generation games. That changed with the Xbox 360 and the Dreamcast, and the PlayStation 2. That generation I got I got the PlayStation 2 pretty early on when it came out. I got the Dreamcast the moment it came out in the Netherlands. We were way behind, and it was already dead when it came out in our neck of the woods. I got the Dreamcast because the PAL games really were cheap. They were going on discount even you know, a week after they were released. Yeah, basically the system was dead before it had a chance to breathe. So I got that on release. I got those games on release. Gran Turismo was a driving force getting a PlayStation 2, Gran Turismo 3. The fact that it was able to play PlayStation on disc was a big deal. The Dreamcast, Metropolis Street Racer was a big thing for me, and on the Xbox 360, Project Gotham Racing was a big thing, and because it was more or less a very powerful PC, at least back in the day. I mean, my system was a lower spec than my Xbox back in the day. I mean, I had a Pentium 3, but the Xbox had a higher clock frequency. but I guess it was a seller. I'm not sure. Yeah, so getting Xbox games at hand, renting Xbox games at hand, that was something that, yeah, because I had the funds, I more or less moved into current gen gaming, whichever stayed the same. I mean, I got my Xbox 360 on release date. I mean, I got it repaired. It was faulty, but I got it repaired, so my Xbox 360 still works now. I got another one, which I'm actually downloading stuff from. Someone told me how to transfer the license, so I just did a video on my downloadable games, and those were like 135 games, I believe. And I think that's also what money does to you. I mean, I earned more, and when these downloadable games became available, I started to download them. I didn't play them as much as I should have, because if you look at my Xbox gamer score, I'm Lactobacillus P. It's ridiculously low. Also because I didn't play online as much as I could have. But yeah, having more money makes spending it on games easier, but it doesn't make playing the games more enjoyable. Chances are you get a full game room, but you don't play the games if you're unlucky. I'm very pressed for time, so I'm not able to sit down for hours a day trying to play one of these games. I was collecting, and I was perhaps even at some point putting much too much money into my retro collection, doing lots of pickups videos every week, and it didn't make me happy. It didn't make me happy because I was getting a lot of games that perhaps I won't even play. And I'm a gamer, you know. I play my games to death, and that's something that changed for me. That I just want to play my games to death. I really want to play my games, and so I decided not to go overboard with the spending. Just budget myself a healthy budget, which is a healthy budget even for someone, if someone has a low income. I mean, it's doable, the budget I have. So I'm not going overboard. Sometimes I will. I mean, getting a 3D XL the moment it comes out, yeah, that's kind of going overboard. But yeah, I won't be buying a lot of full price games. I mean, the game I just showed you, Mario 3D Land, is actually a second-hand game. Someone actually, I mean, this is pretty much brand new, but it's already a second-hand game, and there's actually a big dent in here, so it's a brand new game, already turned second-hand. I love these things. It's already second-hand, and I picked this up rather cheap, far from full price. So yeah, I tend to do that. And so yeah, would gaming be any different if money played no object? Yeah, I think games are more enjoyable if they are scarce, if they are hard to come by. I think things in general are more enjoyable if you postpone exposure. I mean, if you just flood yourself going the instant gratification route, I think you'll end up being very unhappy, because it's never enough. It's never enough. And money constraints, just put yourself to a limit of spending. I mean, there's real life, there's a mortgage to pay, there's medical bills, there's, you know, electrical bills, there's just so much real world stuff, you know, family you have to take care of, that spending all your money on games is nice if if you're single or you're living with very low living expenses, and it's cool, but spending the majority of your income on games is not a wise thing to do, I guess. So I just don't. I just spend a very small portion of my income on games, and the rest is saved and spent on the house and, you know, buying a car and what have you. Life, the universe and everything, and life is expensive. And yeah, I mean, getting a game like this, I mean, you pay $4.99 for this. You know, I'm not gonna go out and buy it for 20, because there are people who sell these for 20, and they are insane, I think. But yeah, there are people who sell it for 20. So sometimes a good game will come out. Oh, I'm recording a video. Camera warning for the wife. Camera warning for the wife. Yes. Okay. So yeah, every once in a while a new system or a new game will pop up, and I'll just have to get it. And but luckily, not every month a cool game is popping up, or and I must have the time. So there's some rules that I go by. I must have the time to play it. If not, it must be a really good price to get the game or the system, and I will find some time to play it. And there's a limit to my budget, and I tend to set myself a standard budget, and there's months that I don't buy anything. I can, you know, save some money, and the next month I have more to spend. So what I'm actually doing is saving up for a Nintendo Wii U. I'm very much looking forward to this system. I think it is a system that will have a lot of innovation with it, with a special controller. And yeah, it's a system that I will save up for. It's a system that I would like to have. It's a system that I would like to buy some games for. So I'm actually in the process of saving up some for it. I'm not going to buy it on credit. I believe buying on credit is just the most stupidest thing you can do. I think here in the Netherlands and in Europe, buying on credit may be perceived a bit different than it is perceived in the States. But yeah, my philosophy is, if you don't have the money to buy something, don't buy it. I mean, I don't go on holiday if I don't have the money. I mean, there's people going on holidays with money that they borrow from the bank. That's just insane. Yeah, justifying spending more than you actually earn. Yeah, that's something that just doesn't work with me. I have been poor for a large portion of my life, and waiting for something, postponing for something, having stuff being a bit scarce, not running out and buying everything that I want to have, but you know, setting myself limits. That's a good thing. And if you have, you know, a 6-figure income, a 3-figure income, a 2-figure income, it doesn't matter. I don't have a 6-figure income. But what you, setting yourself limits. If you got all the money of the world, if you don't set yourself limits, you are going to spend it all. You are going to be very unhappy. And if you set yourself limits, and limits that can be actually quite enjoyable. There's this proverb: the grass on the other side of the fence is always greener. I'm not sure it's a Dutch proverb, but you know, the goat that stands eating the grass on one side of the fence, and he looks on the other side, and the grass is much juicier. That's the thing, you know. People are never satisfied. And I think we live in a world where people are harder and harder to satisfy, and instant gratification thing is running rampant. And so I'd like to think that money does play a role in how games are enjoyed. And I like to set myself limits, and there's certain things that I just won't do. I won't go out and get myself a load of arcade cabinets because I don't have the space, I don't have the room. Even in the game room I don't have the room, perhaps in the garage, but an arcade cabinet is too special to put in a garage. So yeah, that's why I got myself this small arcade cabinet with the iPad. You can slide the iPad in it from ION or something, the arcade. That's my arcade cabinet, and yeah, well, that's enough, I guess, me rambling on. I'm actually still enjoying my Finnish licorice. I think a little under a month I got myself a whole shitload of Finnish licorice, even Dutch licorice, from Finland, and I'm still enjoying the heck out of it. Let me know what you think about setting yourself limits, instant gratification. How you is it wise to set yourself a limit? Is it wise to budget yourself? I think if you are if you are living an adult life with a lot of responsibilities, spending all your money on games, spending all your time on games, maybe a bit unwise. I spend quite a portion of my free time I spend in my game room. I spend playing games, but there's also a huge portion of my free time that I don't spend on playing games. So I set myself limits because it's not the only thing that I want to do. Yeah, you won't see that in my videos, or perhaps it sometimes bleeds through a bit. But I've got other interests. I've got, I like to watch movie. I like to watch a movie. I like nature. I like being active. There's a lot of things that I'd much rather do as well. So balancing it out is a good thing. Okay, well, I'm gonna shut up now because I'm over 20 minutes long now. So yeah, people are just gonna tune out because it's not. Oh, what I could do, of course, is use the moo. Men in Black. Okay, watch the moo. And now you have forgotten everything that there was about this video. Mark signing off, and I'll be back with another video soon.